This is a special cargo ship that combines a freighter and a submarine. Amethyst, a semi-submersible payload ship, is not so special from the outside, but from the inside. Take a look at some of the amazing things about this super cargo ship. Today the Amethyst is on its way to Mexico, where it will be loaded onto 2 decommissioned oil rigs for Oman. Each rig is 60 meters above sea level and weighs 12,500 tons. With the development of oil and natural gas, the global demand for heavy tonnage transportation is also rising, and the weight of a single piece of transportation can reach 50,000 tons. The old towing methods were not suitable, and roads could not be built at sea, so only this special vessel could do the job. Amethyst is a huge, heavy-duty cargo ship, with a deck length of 183 meters, a width of 48 meters, and a net weight of 31,000 tons. It can hold 16 Statue of Liberty as easily as 2 giant oil rigs, and its transport capacity is astounding. If you want to carry such a huge load, the deck is very important. Amethyst's deck is made of thick steel, which prevents it from sagging under heavy loads, but also greatly increases the weight of the ship. So the surface is only 30 centimeters, but below the surface of the deck and a grid connection layer made of the second floor deck. They are made up of special shaped steel beam. Cross-section is like a capital I. Use similar skyscrapers of bow beam. Can withstand the tremendous pressure, not distorted. Also can protect the surface of the deck without any increase in body weight under the condition of increasing strength. In addition, the deck needs to be kept flat, because if the load is not even, it will bend and easily cause the ship to tilt. In the deck shop, workers use a crane to lift a small piece of steel and weld 154 pieces into a larger piece. The finished large steel plate has a seam of 2,400 meters long, using carbon dioxide arc welding, which is more efficient, and the welding seam is relatively smooth. The Amethyst's 95,000 square meters of deck will undergo a rigorous inspection after welding to within 5 millimeters. This is a 31,000-ton heavy cargo ship, Amethyst, which can easily carry tens of thousands of tons of cargo. To do so, it has a very powerful engine system, with 4 diesel engines, each producing 9,600 horsepower. That's the equivalent of 12 Ferrari V12s, each weighing 132 tons. All 4 of them weigh more than a jumbo jet. Because of their huge size, they can only be mounted on the bow. Another problem is that a 164-meter long propeller with a drive shaft attached to the stern takes up a lot of space below the deck, which is simply not possible with current technology. So designers came up with a way to drive the motor at the bow and send power through a cable to the motor at the stern, which eliminates the need for a long drive shaft, but means the motor at the stern is huge. Here's a propulsion chamber in the stern, with a 4,000 kilowatt motor, 5,000 times more powerful than a household washing machine. Once the power system is solved, it needs to generate enough thrust. Amethyst can reach speeds of 16 knots, equipped with powerful propellers. Each propeller has 4 blades, made of copper and nickel aluminum alloy, which can penetrate water efficiently. Unlike propellers on other ships, Amethyst's propeller shaft has an oil-filled hydraulic piston that changes the angle of the blades as it works or rotates in the opposite direction, folding up if it stops working or is damaged, reducing seawater resistance. With only 1 propeller, the Amethyst can maintain normal speed. The powertrain is so powerful that it can travel 40,000 kilometers on a single refueling trip, enough to circle the Earth once. But there's another problem with this big, heavy ship at high speed, and that's how to stop it. The ship has no brakes at sea and can keep moving for a long time even with the propeller shut. This relies on high-tech propellers that rotate in, reverse, and push back the water to stop the boat within 500 yards. Talk about power and brakes, and the Amethyst steering. Do you know how a giant 31,000-ton cargo ship works? Amethyst was fitted with a special hinged rudder that allowed her to turn with a smaller radius than other ships of her class. In addition, the Amethyst had several odd shafts below the waterline, which contained thrusters and propellers on the outside, as well as large thrusters on the bow and stern that produced a tremendous amount of thrust as they moved, allowing the Amethyst to move sideways with a small amount of direction, still controlled by the main propeller. After explaining the Amethyst's capabilities, let's talk about its most surprising way of loading. It is a semi-submersible because it can sink its entire deck below the surface of the ocean and then refloat when the cargo moves above the deck. A high-tech answer lies below deck. The Amethyst had no warehouses below deck, but was made up of ballast tanks. When seawater is pumped in, it reduces the displacement of the ship and causes it to sink. leaving only guideposts above the surface of the sea to indicate the exact location of cargo. The Amethyst can hold 160,000 cubic meters of seawater in 76 compartments over 3 floors. This is designed to control even pumping of water and keep the ship stable at all times. Over the course of half a day, the Amethyst's hull had sunk a full 9 meters, and the tugboats were preparing to move the drill toward the Amethyst, taking great care not to collide with the ship's hull beneath the water. The crew then used a rope to attach the rig to the hull and a winch to adjust the position of the rig. Once the rig was in position, the crew checked the guideposts carefully to make sure they were in the right place. Now that Amethyst can rise, high-speed blades will use centrifugal force to push water out of the ballast tanks, reaching 4 million gallons per hour and impelling all the water in just 7 hours. Not only that, but the pumps also control the displacement of the sides to keep the ship in balance. As the Amethyst rose slowly, the rig platform and deck came into contact, then gradually rose to the surface. The next day it repeats the same procedure, loading it on the second rig. As the purple crystal rises again, both oil rigs are successfully loaded into position on board, just right. Once the crew has welded them to the deck, the Amethyst can set sail to deliver 2 oil rigs to their destination.